Divorce TV with Wally Marcus. Today's show, Conversation with a Therapist with Suzanne Lovejoy. Support for Divorce TV provided in part by the Center for Divorce Mediation, 520-577-1202. Welcome to Divorce TV. I'm your host, Wally Marcus. I've been a divorce mediator for over 25 years. It's hard to believe. And my guest today is Suzanne Lovejoy, who's a therapist. And you can get more information about our show or about our guest with our website below. And later on, we'll be showing you Suzanne's information so you can contact her. And also, you can watch our show on Divorce TV on YouTube, which is www.youtube.com/Divorce TV. Suzanne, welcome. I know we've had a rough time trying to schedule this show. It's been going on for 3 or 4 months, finally getting you and so we can get you busy. I guess there must be a lot of therapy cases out there, but I know you've been busy with some family things too. But I'm glad we finally got you on the show. Wanted to have you on for a long time.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, what can I tell you about myself? I went back to practice about 20 years ago, and that's when I returned for graduate school. And so I've been in private practice for about 20 years. And I have practice in central Tucson. Good.
And what kind of practice do you have?
I work mainly with young adults and teenagers case by case. I specialize in couples and eating disorders.
There are a lot of I like to throw my guests off with asking questions. There are a lot of we're talking about divorce. Are there eating orders in divorce?
There are, yes.
There are people?
Oh, yeah.
We had
issues around weight, and yes, there are.
We'll have to come back to a little bit more about that. But you've been doing this for a long time.
I have.
And what's your education and licensing?
My education is a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I'm licensed as a marriage and family therapist.
Good. Before I forget, because I always tend to do this, let's get your information on the screen so you can... And so if you want to get more information about Suzanne, there's her website and her telephone number and her email address. So you can check with her, and we'll show this a few more times on the screen. So if you need to get in touch with her, want to get in touch with her, you can see her that way. What are your specialties? You said a little bit about your specialties, but the eating disorders and...
Yeah, and I work with a lot of couples. And I'd say really almost 85% of my practice is around relationships. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. I'm working with individuals, I'm working with couples, and I'd say 85% is around marriage, coupling, relationships. They come in by themselves, or I'm working with them as a couple.
And what are some of the reasons couples come to see you?
Well, let's see. We've got a lot of reasons why they come in. One is there's just been some big crisis. One spouse found out about an affair. This is if they're coming in as a couple. So there's an affair or infidelity. Increased fighting. It could be around children. It could be just...
About the infidelity thing for a question, is that a deal breaker always or not, infidelity? And do you find it you're able to help couples get beyond that?
Couples can get beyond it. I have helped couples get beyond it. It's not easy, and everybody has to work pretty hard. However, people can get beyond it. You know, there's different reasons for people having an affair or infidelity, or there's a lot of pornography and online porn. So I really help them understand what the function of it has been, or the reason, not so much why, but it functions to either kind of wake somebody up, like wake the other spouse up, or it's going to be kind of the way they say goodbye because they don't know how to say, I'm finished here. Unfortunately.
I've seen a lot of couples in my practice where they would come in and they say, gee, the other person had an affair, we got to get a divorce. I mean, there was no sense that there was any ground in between, but you're saying that the real, and I've always felt there is, but you're confirming that.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, yes, there is. If they come in and, first I have to establish if they're going to, they coming in and there's been an affair, there's been infidelity or some emotional affair or something, I have to establish if there's ambivalence somewhere not just a lot of rage and betrayal, but is the person, like, say, that did stray, are they actually very ambivalent about the marriage? It's very complicated. I'm sure you know.
No, I know.
I'm sure
But
you know.
you raised a point which I'm not sure our viewers always know. Is you said
Yeah.
an emotional infidelity. What's emotional infidelity?
Well, it's where another person is, you know, a good friend, and they become kind of a confidant. So I have a number of cases where that goes on, especially today with the social networking. It's, you know, somebody looks somebody up from the past, or it's an old flame, or maybe they were interested in each other, and maybe things at home are a little bit rocky, and so they start emailing, and they may never even see each other, but they, you know, they'll write and email about their spouse.
Okay. I mean, I sort of interrupted you because you raised some interesting points there. What are some other reasons that the couples come to see you?
Let's see. I have couples that come in because one person's drinking a lot, and there's a lot of denial around it. And if the spouse says, "I think you drink too much," there's resistance. If they both would come in, we could take a look at that. Let's see. So many different reasons.
That's good. No, but how does that interplay with it? I mean, are these couples going through a divorce? Is prior divorce? How does that work in relationship to the process?
Every time a couple comes in, I have to assess whether they're coming in to get help to restore and reclaim their marriage or their relationship, or are they, you know, they're not necessarily two people coming in at the same time. You know, the couple both saying, "We're here because we want to get a divorce." That isn't that common. I may get people that are really on the brink, but that's kind of often when couples come in. They're on the brink, and I have to help them assess, is someone here done? Is someone ambivalent?
I think that's probably what I find in my mediation practice is that people, very often, some of the best cases I get are from therapists. Actually, people have gone to couples therapy, have explored all the alternatives, left no stone unturned, and then they feel that they're more comfortable with making a decision. So I guess, you know, they're at that early stage is very often when they're seeing you, and then they decide which way they want to go.
Yes, and if they can come to that with a little more amicable, you know, resolution, it's much better. And then I try to steer them to collaborative divorce attorneys.
And mediations, mediators too.
And absolutely, absolutely, mediation. Yes, I know they're not the same. Yes, I do both.
Well, that's it. What do you think are the more challenging problems that are presented to you?
Well, I would put it in terms of their challenging themes or relational dynamics. So, fairness is one. In issues of fairness, it's not only issues of fairness, but I'm right and you're wrong. So very rigid, I'm right and you're wrong. Those are challenging. Let's see. People coming in with just an impasse, blame, for instance. I guess that's a form of you're right and I'm wrong, but it's a little bit different. Blame comes with resentment and anger, and then the other very complicated one is when both people are highly reactive to each other.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that.
Well, imagine two couples and they get, I don't know if this is language you understand, but they get triggered quickly towards each other.
Push each other buttons?
Yes, yes. And it happens very quickly, and there's a lot of, I won't get into this now, but there's a lot of neuroscience, interpersonal neurobiology to help us understand why things start flaring up so quickly and there's high escalation. So those are what we think of as high conflict couples.
And when you're working with these couples, are you sort of talking through these things and sort of helping them, or what do you do? Without revealing any of your secrets.